You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. It's horrifying. I'm so sorry. It's overwhelming. It's really hard.
Looks like all the journalists got woke and went broke. So while I don't agree that this current state of affairs is Gamergate 2.0, I have to concede that where the similarities are is that in both Gamergate and what we're dealing with right now, it all centered and started around a relationship that has nothing to do with the public, yet we are all involved. And somehow this one causal factor will lead all of us down the alt-right pipeline as described by the mainstream media. But before I turn all my viewers inevitably into alt-righters, please try your best not to send anybody mentioned in this video any type of hate harassment or bullying or mean comments or any kind of degeneracy. I don't condone that. Let's go. So I'm just going to do a quick little recap of how we got to the point and the main talking point I want to get to, and chances are if you know anybody in this thumbnail then you already know the backstory, but let's just cover our ground decently. So all of this started because there was a defamation case highly publicly between Johnny Depp and ex-wife Amber Heard. And in this case it came out that Amber Heard herself was most likely also abusive towards Johnny Depp when she claimed that he wasn't the abuser. And when looking at the evidence, it turned out that there was a bigger chance that Amber Heard was probably the abuser in this situation, and therefore she actually did slander and defame Johnny Depp because he lost a bunch of roles and a lot of money, a lot of unrelatable rich people problems, but you know, to each their own. However, this sparked major conversation amongst every single person with a platform and even just regular viewers. So a bunch of people made a fuck ton of money off of this case simply by discussing it, talking it, and platforming this debate. And the debate really truly was whether you are somebody who says, I believe all victims, and therefore Amber Heard was talking the truth, even though she might have also been some scum shit. And then of course there was the correct side, the people who agreed with Johnny Depp, and that was 90% of people watching this case. Now, before you lean into your natural instincts to call these people contrarian or fucking imbeciles or some other derogatory term that I would most likely support, just consider for a second that there is something that matters significantly more than your ethics and what you believe to be right and wrong, and doing proper research and being open to counter arguments, and that is optics. Of course, you need clout, you need people to like you so that you can make money and be rich and famous and everything be good. So you need to look good, right? And remember, the context for this defamation case that the media had to report on has had precedent, because there was a former case that Johnny Depp had lost defamation-wise with The Sun, right? And the media backed Amber Heard to such a significant extent that Johnny Depp had lost a lot of current and future possible career opportunities. He lost roles in Pirates of the Caribbean, as well as the Harry Potter spin-off series Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So in other words, if the media came out and said, you know what, maybe we made a mistake, maybe new evidence and all that, then they might look like, you know, slimy, spineless scum, and most people do not want that label attached to them.
It's horrifying.
So they did what any journalist would do, and that is just simply double down against the facts presented, against what the jury would say, against what most people were saying, and they backed their horse. Amber Heard was their third queen, and they were not going to let her down in this time of need. So that's important. That was what the journalists, specifically our major players, Taylor Lorenz and kattenbarge, and then on the opposite end of this, we had people who were not as burdened by the shackles of corporate media. We had people who were genuinely interested in the case, people who wanted to offer their 2 cents. And just like with anything on YouTube, you will find people on every single side. You will find people who agree with you. You will. This platform is big enough and people are wild enough to have all different sides. However, the main players that drew attention in the story were Rekieta Law, The Umbrella Guy, Emily D. Baker, and Legal Bytes. And these are 4 people, 3 of which are actual qualified lawyers who have been practicing for years at this point, who were giving their expert opinions on the case. And what do all 4 of these people have in common? Well, 2 things. One is they agree that Johnny Depp was the guy to back. And secondly, unfortunately, they are YouTubers who do not care about the journalism presented by Taylor, Lorenz, and kattenbarge. Yes, some might call them the heroes of the story. And the problem is, if you're a salty ass journalist and you have an opinion and it is tied to your politics and your personal beliefs, and then you have people who are actually experts and qualified on topic commenting on said topic, and they conclude differently than you, then obviously they are fundamentally wrong. But since they're not wrong in the legal sense because, they are actually qualified, then there must be something else wrong with them, right? There must be some other crazy reason why they are drawing all the viewers and the clicks, and these mainstream journalists are just losing the battle. So what could that possibly be? Well, this question can simply be answered with how they coped after the jury reached their decision and the trial ruled in favor of Johnny Depp. And that is that there was a serious cope after this tragic loss. Look at this unhinged ramblings of kattenbarge. Truly fucking tragic. Girl. Now, while a Twitter cope is deeply cringe and should be stopped at all costs, seriously, somebody should have stepped in after the 3rd post, like, holy shit, this is fucking unhinged, girl. Taylor Lorenz instead sought to accomplish what no man has done before, and that is to blatantly not take the L by twisting the facts of the matter and creating the narrative that you truly want to see. So she published a fucking article in the Washington Post, and she made some, mistakes, but let's first go over what her point in this article is. So Taylor Lorenz called out 2 specific YouTubers, Legal Bytes and that Umbrella Guy, and she wanted to make the point that these people only care about the drama because they just want the clicks and the views and the money. And she proved this point by looking at Social Blade, something which is notoriously wrong. I've never heard a YouTuber say, wow, that's accurate. No, it's not. It doesn't count for anything. But besides that, she basically came for their bag. And then in the article, she said that she tried to reach out to them for comment, but they did not respond. Now, here's the problem. First of all, getting money for creative output in internet culture relating to clicks and views, that's you, Taylor. That's literally what you do. What do you mean? Are you literally coming for somebody else's bag because they're legitimately more entertaining than you? Is that the point here? Are you posting your L online? Are you telling us the tea that these people have an audience that literally prefer them?
Oh, they took our jibs!
They took your jab! They took your jab!
That's the first thing. Secondly, both of these creators have proven to us verifiably, undeniably, that they have been following this case pre the trial. They've already been invested. They already created an audience based off of this. They didn't know that the case was going to blow up to the extent that it did, but saying that the only reason that they are talking about this is because it's popular right now is also factually incorrect. And then finally, the most interesting part of all of this is that there was no reaching out from Taylor Lorenz to these creators, not via email or their Twitter DMs, just kind of basically to Legal Bytes. There was some Instagram message DM that she just totally overlooked. But both of these creators stated blatantly that they did not say that they did not want to respond. They didn't ghost Taylor. Taylor just did not reach out to them. And then this motherfucking Taylor Lorenz, again refusing to take any even slight little teeny tiny bit of an L, said, oh no, this was not my mistake. I acknowledge that you've now proven that I have not reached out to you, but instead of correcting the record, instead of saying me, Taylor, I sometimes am an L. No. Instead of that, the editor at the Washington Post, an unnamed editor who will never be named, as Washington Post himself already stated, this person tried to ruin Taylor Lorenz, take away her credibility, stab her in the back, because this editor, unbeknownst to Taylor Lorenz, put in the line saying that they had reached out to the umbrella guy and legal Bytes when it's just not true. That wasn't Taylor's mistake. No, fuck no, she'll never. No. She's a queen. This is not the type of shit that she does. Oh, by the way, I feel like I want to add at this point, literally like 3 weeks ago, Taylor Lorenz went on a doxing spree against this account called Lips of TikTok, literally because this account disagrees with Taylor Lorenz politically, and Taylor not only doxed her, but actually fucking went to her house, knocked on her door. This was weird. She went beyond even doxing. She went IRL. So the respect and credibility of this ethical journalist is highly non-existent. So Taylor Lorenz tried to create the narrative that these people are overpaid and underqualified to be reporting on a case, and she as a journalist deserves credibility, clicks, views, and money, basically super chats, because she is actually qualified. But in reality, these people are fucking YouTubers. They're YouTubers. You don't have to be qualified to get money for being a YouTuber. Like, you literally plug in a fucking mic and press record and hope for the best, and sometimes people like it enough to give you money, but regardless of that, Legal Bytes is actually a lawyer, and she was commenting on the law, which she is more qualified to do than Taylor Lorenz. So even that argument, flat on its fucking face. So this was clearly trash. This was incorrect. She literally proved as a journalist she got facts wrong. Hilarious. So the TLDR of the backstory is: Amber lied, Taylor Lorenz cried, Johnny Depp W, and society said fuck you to the mainstream media. Look at all these fellow journalists and influential checkmark people handing Taylor even more and more L's. They did not let this go. Absolutely nobody was buying into this.
It's horrifying.
Oh, you love to see it. So, at this point you might feel some inclination towards joining the alt-right, since we are exploring the pipeline, and you might even come to realize that this is truly Gamergate 2.0 for girls. However, things are about to get so much more worse. Taylor Lorenz was not taking these L's either. She does not see red flags, she only sees white flags because the bitch is colorblind. And she concluded that the best thing to do was double down and keep it pushing. So she shared another article in which somebody for some reason decided to break down exactly what the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial was worth to YouTubers. Now this exact framing right here and this article itself might not look problematic. It might not look like there's any more intentions other than it's fun to know. This is from Business Insider, so maybe they give us some insight on how business works, blah blah blah. But in the context of everything that we know about Taylor Lorenz and what she posted, her own article before this, we know that the context is supposed to mean that these people were simply milking the case for, again, clicks, views, and money. And the problem is that it's entirely true, and so what? Right? So by that I mean, of course, these people are all qualified, they're entertaining, they can keep an audience, they are fantastic, they are smart, funny, and clever. All these things are true. But the problem is that they're all of those things more so than Taylor Lorenz. Nobody wants to do the same for Taylor Lorenz than what they're doing for these YouTubers. And the funny hypocritical part of all of this is that literally she wants the same. It's very clearly jealousy. It's new media versus old media, and she cannot let it go that nobody's buying her product, and she cannot understand why the demand with these other creators is so significant and so high. However, the problem here is not exactly as what it looks, as exactly a week before this article dropped and Taylor Lorenz shared this fucking post, this clip came from Rekieta Law.
Well, follow the money. By the way, a friend of mine got a request from a media personality today asking to, they're doing a piece on the super chat function and creators' interesting uses of it. Why?
Oh, that's
So hit piece on Nick Rekieta incoming.
It's not a legal creator. It's not a legal creator because they're not going to ask the legal creators about it. They're going to ask other people to develop sound bites for their hit piece on the legal creators who, honesty is critical in all this. Anybody who covered this, even in one live stream, made a disproportionately high amount of money versus any other time that you do YouTube. That's the reality of how much public interest is generated. And we all appreciate every single dollar. Of course, it's wonderful, but that's what happened. And so they're going to utilize that and say that we're all motivated by money rather than just incidentally ending up on the thing. And that is bad for public discourse will be the follow-up conclusion. And they'll try, the push will be, a Mediaite article. Mediaite, who owns that? Dan fucking Abrams. Well, there will be a Mediaite article, a Washington Post opinion piece, an LA Times opinion piece about how maybe YouTube should consider limiting super chats on controversial matters of public concern.
Oh, God.
And it's coming.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
coming.
So let's break it down. There is a theory running around that it is possible for these mainstream bottom dwellers to actually try to put pressure on YouTube to limit super chats on what would be considered quote-unquote controversial issues. Hear me out. This is not the first time that super chats have been limited when talking about controversial topics. It has happened before, specifically in the case of a charity stream done through Holocaust deniers. Whatever, we're not going that alt-right today. But the point is that it seems from the outside, in a very conspiratorial and alleged manner, that maybe, just maybe, journalism is coming together to try and make journalism cool again by limiting the opportunities that legal experts and other types of experts could have on this platform by, well, essentially limiting their monetization and therefore incentive. And I think that the reason that they are going to say that this is a good thing is because journalists are held to a different standard because they work for a specific company and a brand, and all that can be sued and challenged and it has to abide by certain rules, but you can still sue individuals on YouTube if they make defamatory statements. So that's a tough tell. And then secondly, she's a reporter. She's an expert in being a reporter. She's not a lawyer. Saying that the lawyers have nothing to contribute is factually incorrect. Once again, Taylor. And then finally, being somebody who is constantly being questioned on her own ethical decisions in journalism, trying to portray journalism and reporting as something that is ethically superior to YouTube also doesn't check out completely. At the end of the day, it kind of just seems like she's big, mad, and sad because her team didn't win. And on top of that, she's not even making the most money out of this. So, like, double fucking L. Deeply embarrassing. Meanwhile, kattenbarge Tart Wrangler must be on holiday or some shit because she decided to tweet once again. The exact same post, but make it even more abundantly clear what Taylor Lorenz was only hinting at. And she got told off in the replies and the quote tweets. People absolutely, because this is very obvious what they're trying to do. It's not really working, the narrative is failing, and their fellow journalists are even calling them out on it. So nobody's buying this. We can all see what's happening. And then she doubled down as well with these tweets, pretending like those of us who are critical of her are out of touch with what it means to be a journalist. And this is exactly the same type of tactics that she used when defending Amber Heard, so I'm not surprised by it. But if anything, this only proves what the ethical standards in journalism currently is. And it only further encourages people to go watch YouTubers instead of reading your paywalled shitty ass articles. Based on the coping, seething, and molding that I find on the timeline, I would think it's safe to assume that these women are really trying to push the narrative that this is Gamergate 2.0 for women. Oh god. And then their arguments. Imagine complaining about super chats when this is literally your content, like paywalled. Wow, Insider is single-handedly causing the resurgence of the radical alt-right with this one. It's like they're telling us they have the cure for cancer, but then treatment is behind some subscription fee. And guys, although it might be news to some of you, Taylor and Kat could literally start a YouTube channel and collect donors like everybody else. It's literally always been an option. Or do you think that they truly do believe that YouTube is like a gateway drug to becoming Alex Jones? look, I mean, if you want to be a journalist, go ahead. But then make sure that your content is actually good enough for people to want to buy your product instead of that of the YouTubers. Because y'all seem salty as fuck right now. Truly, Kate will be the only one talking about the harassment to alt-right pipeline. And you know what? I'm here for it. I will watch every second of it. Kat, that could be your YouTube series, how to avoid becoming alt-right as a YouTuber. Anyway, I'm just a thought with an opinion and I don't know shit about fuck. Pile. So I joked a lot in this video about being a part of the alt-right and how I support this now, and the thing is, I realized that when Johnny Depp won, that misogyny has taken yet another W, and as somebody who also cannot truly gracefully take any kind of L, and I never do, I decided to join Team Misogyny. So yeah, the allegations are true, it checks out.